Okay, it's on. So in 19, you went to work
for Verbo
in what
Corporation. They were
year?
shipbuilding. It was on Mill Island,
Yeah.
and I worked there for probably 3 or 4 years, and then I got married. And I got married in 1950, and my husband was killed in an automobile accident in 1951. And then after that, I went to work for Noble Chemical Company.
So how long were you married?
Only a year.
A year.
He was killed in an automobile
Yeah.
accident. And
On Neville Island.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then I stayed home for a while, and then I went to work for Noble Chemical, and that's when I met Pete. And I only worked there a year and less than 2 years, and then we started dating and got married in '53. And from then on, I'll let Dad tell the story. Well, he did. He talked about moving to Warren in
Right.
1953.
Right.
Lived at Southview, built the house. We lived in Southington in the house my dad built for 10 years.
That was from 53 to 63?
Oh, no, no,
55 to 65.
more like 60. We moved in 67.
Oh. Okay.
Here, came here.
Okay.
How old were you then?
Well, see, I thought you moved there in 55 because I was born in 57.
Okay, yes. And then we lived there 10 years.
Okay.
We moved in 67, and we've been here ever since, in Warren, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I hated to leave because my dad had built the house.
Right.
But I also I came to love this house, of course. And I think it was good for the kids because of school. You know,
Right.
you were being bused so far
Yeah.
to go to school all the time. And that's it, up till
Okay.
now.
Any stories about your mom? Tell
I
a
have
little
to
bit about
think.
her. Tell a little bit about her life, what you know
Well, I
about Effie.
remember when I was about,
She was born in the U.S.
yes,
Or
no,
she was babe in arms, brought to the U.S., yeah.
maybe not. And after she married my dad, well, first of all, she worked in a number of different places. She worked in Heinz, and she worked in a candy shop.
What'd she do at Heinz?
She used to say she picked the warts off of pickles.
Yeah.
But I think she sorted food, you know, through the bad food. And then she got a job at a candy factory and put the designs on top of the candy. And then I don't know where else she worked. She had 2 or 3 different jobs. And then when she married my dad, she quit working. And
Did she start to go blind before she met your dad or after?
no, it was when I was around 12 years old.
Okay.
She noticed. She would walk to there was a store in the corner, grocery store.
Right.
She'd walk to the store every day, get groceries from home. And things in the store weren't looking right to her. And then she would look up at the clock and couldn't see the time. So finally they went to the eye doctor. It was detached retina. And at that time they couldn't do anything. He pulled the retina down and stitched it, but her vision was blurred. And she still had one good eye then, but it wasn't long before the other one did the same thing. And she was an ice skater. She used to take us ice skating, and she was a good skater. And the doctor said it could have been a hard fall, or it could have been from looking up and hanging clothes. Any number of things where you would strain your eyes. And but she handled it well. She really did. In her own home, you wouldn't know her eyesight was bad.
Right.
But she couldn't go out on her own. She couldn't walk to the neighbor's house, or she couldn't walk down to the post office 2 doors away. But I do know when you were there, when you'd stay with them, she used to take you for a walk in the stroller.
Yeah.
Now, how would that be?
And she had a heart attack when she was 60.
She had a heart attack.
63 or 4? Something
like that. And she was on heart medication for the rest of her life, but it really didn't bother her. It must have been very mild.
Yeah.
It must have been mild. Although she said for a week, when she would walk up the steps, she'd have a hard time getting up the steps. And finally, they went to the doctor, and he told her to go to the hospital and take care of her. Well, she got to the hospital, and they were going to put her in intensive care, and they made her walk to intensive care. I mean, she's.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they put her in a wheelchair? But she was in the hospital 2 weeks at that time. But after that, she never had heart problems.
And then your dad, well, we talked a little bit about him, but he was a carpenter, and so he drove a
And,
truck. Then he worked for Gulf Oil. You don't know
mhm.
what he did for Gulf Oil, though, do you?
No, I didn't.
And then he was a carpenter. Now, was it just him when he started out, or did he have a partner? Or?
No, he never had a partner.
Okay.
Never. He
Just
had
employees.
men
He had men working for him.
working for him. And he.
How many, like when his business was booming, how many people did he have working for him?
4, 5.
Yeah.
Um, and he did all his own book work, wrote all his own checks and everything, because my mom couldn't help him.
Right.
Although after her eye operation, maybe the first one, she used to go in the bus into Pittsburgh
Yeah.
and shop.
Yeah.
And one time she was with Pat, and Pat told her to stay someplace. She was going to run into a store and do something. She came out, Mom wasn't there. And she was frantic. I don't know really the whole story, but I know she went everywhere looking for her, and of course she found her.
Right.
But after that, then she never went to Pittsburgh again. Scared. But they used to play cards with her 2 sisters and their husbands every Saturday